The hell am I thinking? Of course I'm worthy of all that. Didn't I see this group at the Noriega victory party? What did you see? Did you see the Cubs game last night? Ooh. Not the most exciting event, right? That was the biggest excitement since Geraldo opened Al Capone's vault. What are we going to talk about tonight?
How's the finger?
I beg your pardon?
How's the finger?
How's the finger?
Your finger, you hurt.
Oh, the one I hurt last night. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. The finger's just fine. Let me show you another one. I don't know why I said that. I'm on drugs. No, I did this yesterday morning. I closed a big plate glass window, and the door was moving too fast, and I wanted to slow it down. So I put my hand over there and slowed it down. Anyway, I started to talk about the great horse... Secretariat. Remember Secretariat?
Yeah.
Passed away, I guess, yesterday?
Yes.
Wasn't the Triple Crown winner in about 1973?
Yes.
Yeah.
Won the Belmont by 31 lengths.
What?
Won the Belmont by 31 lengths.
You're absolutely right. Was 19 years old. Is that long for a horse?
Yes, that is quite long.
Yeah. Spent the last 10 years of his life. Don't feel sorry for him. Last 10 years of his life was spent on a stud farm.
Yeah.
You should have that kind of retirement. Now, Doc has some horses, but they're not champions like Secretary. As a matter of fact, when they're put on the stud farm, they're required to practice safe sex. Oh, I don't know whether I can go on tonight. I've lost Zsa and Jim and Tammy in 1 week. Well, you heard? Yeah. I suppose you've heard the verdict came in today. Jim Baker found guilty in all 24 counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim finally found out what PTO meant. Stands for prison term long. The prosecutor said that Baker suffered from a God complex. Thought he could walk on water, but actually Jim was on thin ice most of the time. I didn't know that. Apparently the sentencing will not be for a couple of weeks, but apparently Jim Baker's expecting the worst. He was heard in his cell today singing "Near My Zsa to Thee." Zsa may go to jail, right? Jim Baker may go to jail.
Yeah.
Understand, in a couple of weeks, Hollywood Squares is doing a special edition featuring just jail celebrities like Zsa. You see that? Zsa, Jim and Tammy, Leona Helmsley, with little bars on the squares. John, I'll go with Cindy Garvey to block. You know. Anyway. It's kind of a sorry end to a situation, but the judge apparently was really out to get Jim. Not only is he going to give Jim maybe 120 years, but he's giving Tammy conjugal visiting rights. Boy. And when the verdict was announced, Tammy became tearful. Surprise! Tammy Faye becomes tearful when she hits the last donut in the Winchell 12 pack. She's an emotional woman. She cried earlier today when she was at Arby's roast beef and the guy said, "You want lids on these?" She cried. Baker tried everything, though. He apparently tried a last chance sympathy gambit. He tearfully admitted that he's a chipmunk trapped in a man's body. And I'll say one thing about Jim Baker. He never gives up. Today he started to sell time-sharing prison cells. Well, what else is going on? Business news. Did you see Gillette today? What they're coming out with? You follow this? They're introducing a new razor, I guess the first one in 15 years, called the Sensor. This is not a plug. It's got 20 patents on it and 13 movable parts. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I want to get up at 6 in the morning and shave with something that has more moving parts than I do. Today is California Share the Ride. Did you know that? No. Everyone in California was supposed to carpool today to cut down the traffic on the freeways. Notice the difference? Ed got into the spirit, right?
Yeah.
Ed had 2 chauffeurs drive him to work today. What else happened? Did you see what is it the B-1 that had trouble yesterday? You heard about the stealth bomber. We've been having trouble with the stealth. They took it up once and they couldn't get the landing gear down or the battery went out. Now the B-1 yesterday, they couldn't land the B-1 because they couldn't get the landing gear down. You get the feeling the country might be better protected by a security guard named Pops Ferguson? Maybe not. And you were certainly right. Tonight we have a good show. Don't go by this. Mr. Carl Reiner is with us this evening. Isn't that wearing out faster than it should? I mean, once they start to go, they just unravel just like... My grandmother used to have that on the piano. Remember when you saw that? Anyway, comedian Jann Karam is with us tonight. And an actress whom I have not met. She is in the motion picture Parenthood. Her name is Helen Shawv, and what makes it unique is that she took up acting, at the age of...
90, 91.
No, she didn't. No, she's 92 now, but she only took up acting a few years ago. Is that correct?
Well, that's pretty close. She's 92 years old now.
Excuse me?
82.
Thank you. She took it up at 82.
Well, see?
Man is never wrong. Thank you for coming, I think. We'll be right back. We are back. And who cares?
We care.
We care. Oh, me.
Now, that's a terrible injury. How is your finger?
You know, it was so silly because it looks so like nothing.
Yeah, but how many stitches?
But I have heard, I had 33 stitches put in this, and I've heard from a lot of people who have done something like this before, caught it in the car door, and it is, when it happens, wow. Yeah. The lights, you see a lot of strange shaped, colored lights and so forth, and a lot of foul language.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else you can do. You just sit there and say... It seems to help. Anyway, I have a nice doctor, and he did a nice job with it, but it is sore, and I'm still on those... I don't want people to think I'm taking hard drugs. No. I'm not taking hard drugs. I'm taking something that's got something in it that makes you just a little bit silly or spacey.
Yeah.
But it's not what you'd call
Which is a great thing for this show.
Yeah. It's not what you'd call a, what's the word I want?
Illegal?
Illegal drug.
No.
Well, it's illegal, because it's prescription. But I mean, it's not something you shouldn't be taking.
No.
Anyway. What?
What it's all this.
Well, it's another thing they tell you to do. The doctor means well. He says, it'll help you if you walk around with your finger up in the air. And I said, he said, because otherwise, if you put it down here, because it's below the heart, apparently the blood going to it makes it throb, right? You ever had an injury like that? But you look like a schlemiel walking around. Okay? Four taxis stopped today. Anyway, it's going to be fine. Eddie Shaughnessy, our drummer, who is sitting behind his drums right now as I speak. Wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Shot of Eddie. Oh, there it is.
Oh, a shot of Eddie. Will be featured this Saturday, which is the day after tomorrow, in Eastland, Texas, at the Band Festival.
Wow.
Clever name for it. They probably had a contest down there. What do you think we ought to call it? How about the Band Festival?
Good idea.
No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. It's in Eastland, Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
Eddie will be down there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Yes.
What else do we have here? The thing says odd clippings. You subscribe to a clipping service?
I do not.
Did you early in your career, be honest?
Yes, I did, early in my career. I thought it was important. I found it was not important. And right now, I don't want to see them.
Yeah. Yes, I can understand the clipping, all the stuff you're getting now. Anyway, we subscribe to this, and our talent coordinator, sometimes we find a lot of strange guests on the show, like the guy who kept his doctor waiting for The doctor kept him waiting, and he sued his doctor, right, and so forth. And every now and then we get a clipping that's not worth a booking into itself, but sometimes nevertheless is interesting and truthful. Would you like to hear a couple of these?
Boy, would we.
Well, look, you have no choice. You walked in here. It didn't cost you anything. Yeah. I mean, you could have been at Knott's Berry Farm, but no. You wandered in here looking for entertainment. God, I wish we had some for you. It's just one of those nights where you just do the best you can, and people, these are all true. A lady by the name of Shelley Tamsett of London, England, had a parakeet named Peter. Now, you think I'm making this up? It sounds too good. Apparently, the parakeet broke its leg, so the lady splintered it with a wooden matchstick. Sound good? Yeah. Unfortunately, she didn't remove the head of the match. It was one of those... Oh. The bottom of the parakeet's cage was lined with sandpaper. The lady didn't see what happened, but apparently the parakeet came in, made a nice three-point landing, and burst into flames. Oh. It's just... Now, what can you do? There's nothing she can do. No. The lady just prefers to think that the bird had a heart attack and just died instantly, but... Now, that's pretty wild.
You couldn't book her because she didn't have the parakeet anymore,
What?
Trying to do the best I can for you, that's all.
Well, that ain't it.
Apparently not. What else do you have?
See, when you're dying, the guys, the cameras go further back. They want to pretend they're doing another show and have no association. Well, I didn't work the Carson show that night. No, I was doing Hollywood Squares. A woman in Minnesota left her husband for another man. After she had gone, he received a class reunion questionnaire in the mail from her old high school. You got this so far? Mm-hmm. So he filled it out. His ex-wife, who ran away, filled it out and sent it back. They published his answers in the alumni newspaper, and now she's suing him for $50,000 because under hobbies, which were supposed to be her answers, but he put down, he put nightclubbing, partying, and looking for new and wealthier husbands. Under achievements most proud of, he wrote, "My 3 divorces now, each time I married into more money, to the point where I am now living on $400,000 settlement and interest in my 3rd husband." That's a mean guy, right? And she's suing him now. Let's see what else we have here that you might find rather interesting. These are all true. You notice when I started this, I didn't say these were funny. I said these are true things that happen. And very often, truth is not funny.
You don't have to elaborate on that.
Yes.
I just...
That's what it costs. Okay, I don't like that one.
Do it.
Okay. A Japanese company has invented what they call the world's first intelligent toilet. Now listen to this. Within 5 minutes of sitting down, you get a digital readout of your heart rate, blood pressure, and body temperature. It's being marketed under the name Intelligent Toilet first thing in the morning. Now, here's a guy from Albany, New York, sent us his clipping. Hudson, New York, started a new trash pickup system that required residents to tag their bags with special stickers. Are you aware of that? I think in Los Angeles you have to put glass in one thing, cardboard in another, and so forth. To prevent non-residents from dumping trash in the area, you had to have resident stickers, okay? One day last December, a bag of untagged garbage was found illegally dumped. Police were called in to trace the owner. Even though the man had dumped the trash away from his house, he was eventually caught. When the police found his name on a sweepstake envelope from Ed McMahon that he had thrown unopened into the garbage. So you...
Now, had he returned that, he might have already won $10 million.
Have we got time for another one? These are actually... Now, this one I did not believe, and you must understand I'm not making up to titillate you or, anything like that. This is actually true. A company in Hong Kong is developing a musical condom designed to play 30 seconds of music at the moment of passion. This was in the newspaper. The condoms are fitted with a tiny computer chip programmed to burst into song when the bodily movements reach a certain feverish pitch. They're expected to sell for $5 each, and the company says they'll be available this Christmas. Now that is a pretty... Now the songs that it would play, if you think about it, the choices could be endless.
Yeah. You probably have thought of some already.
Remember Peggy Lee's great song? Is that all there is?
Is that all
The Minute Waltz? Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley? I mean, it could go, Pop Goes the Weasel?
Yeah.
I mean, this could go on and on. Or After the Ball is Over. That's a true item. What is that? You cannot... That was actually in the Wall Street Journal. Actually is true. Not making it up. Okay. We will return in a moment. Now, here's a word from Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. And we shall return. We're back. Okay, my next guest. There's no business like show business, yeah. My next guest is a dear friend, and he does everything. He wears many hats, as they say. Who says that?
You do.
I did, yes. He's an actor, he's a writer, he's a director, he's a friend, and he's here. Would you welcome Mr. Carl Reiner?
Thank you.
You know, all the times you have been here, have we ever discussed the art of taking a bow?
No, we haven't.
I remember, you remember Ethel Merman, of course. I saw Ethel Merman when she did...
Gypsy?
Gypsy. And at the end of the show, she came out and she was absolutely sensational. And she walked center stage and just dropped her head. Not just like this. And, of course, the audience went crazy. And just as the applause about died, she walked stage left to acknowledge that section of the house. Stood there for a moment, and they went crazy. Then she walked and took all of this time doing it, and you just could not resist applauding. The most dramatic thing I've ever seen.
Well, you know, the most dramatic
Why
bow...
did I bring that up?
No, because of that introduction.
Yes.
The most dramatic bow I ever saw was and Dawn, Tony Orlando. Give me that same introduction.
Tony Orlando?
Tony Orlando took the biggest bow I've ever seen at Las Vegas. Wait.
This shows you, if you really got guts, you'd have done that for another minute. Oh, yes. If you really wanted to gut it out, you would have stayed there for 2 full minutes and not stopped.
I'm also a very responsible person, and I'm aware you have a wonderful comedian and a nice old lady on. But Tony Orlando literally did that. He walked, and it's a very big stage. He did that, and I said, he doesn't have to perform after this.
Right.
That's the biggest hit I've ever seen.
There's an art to it. There's an art.
Well, he made me a hit by that introduction. Thank you.
Now, I introduce you as a man who wears many hats.
Yes.
I don't know where that expression comes. It's an old cliche. That means you're multifaceted, multi-talented. Do you wear many hats?
I wear many hats because I'm many bald.
Many bald.
Yes, and the
you don't wear the piece much anymore, do you?
No, I don't wear it. It's dishonest.
Oh, come on.
People-
Show business is dishonest.
Well, people look at you, and they don't look at your eyes. They look above your eyes, and they say things like, "Is that a piece you're wearing?" And I say, "Yes." And you say, "No, you can't tell." No, so I don't need that. But I don't like wearing hats all the time because the hat has a visor, and I'm one of these people who bumps into things, and if I don't see above me, I'm always hitting my head on things. Do you notice anything about me? See, you've got a finger.
Yes, I
have a nose that I
just on the bridge of your nose.
Yes,
there. You look like
I try to have it covered, but
is a telltale bruising?
You know what it is? I'm very sad about this.
Plate glass door?
Yes.
Did you walk into one of those?
Yeah, but what's terrible about it? As your hair grows grayer, the gray matter in your head grows older and dies. Yes.
Neurons.
I find that I am getting easily distracted. I forget things. Yesterday, within a period of 1 hour, I had 4 memory lapses. The last one being this. I went to KPFK to read a chapter of... see, I even forgot what the word chapter is. A chapter of Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. It's the 50th anniversary of the book, and they're going to read the whole book. All these major stars are going to get on and read. And I read a chapter, and I was very excited. I pulled into the parking lot, and a lot of people were watching me park, and there was only a tiny place to park. And somebody says, move it back it up. And I was very proud of the way I was backing it up and parking good. And I got out, and I read the thing in less than 25 minutes. I came out, and number 1 mistake, I left my keys in the car. Number 1, forgetful. 2nd, forgetful, the motor was running. That's 2. Now I said, well, everything's fine. I did a wonderful job. I was very proud of how I read that. And then I'm on my way to Cahuenga Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard. I'm about 15 minutes from where I started. I think I left my glasses at the studio. Turned around, got my glasses. That's number 3.
Yeah, boy.
Decided to get my car washed. This is all within an hour. Decided to get my car washed. I'm ashamed to admit, but I have a telephone in the car. But they take off that little antenna, and they hand it to you. And as you go into a car wash now, by the way, it's a department store. They had muffins there, eyeglasses, videotapes, pornographic films, anything. And I was looking through the wares, and I started to go get my car, and a man says, you forgot your antenna. That's 4. Now I've got the antenna in my hand, my wallet, and I've got the little ticket to get the car, and I see my car is ready, and there's a door there, but I decided not to go through the door, to go through the open passageway. And I walked very fast for an old man. I really moved, and I went bang into that door hard.
Glass door.
Glass door. And there were people 50 yards away outside the thing. Everybody turned around. I realized I really hit that door. I saw stars, but thank God I didn't need any stitches.
Yeah.
I just need a brain repair.
I don't know either you're really losing. I don't know. Remember the wonderful Joe? You play the psychiatrist. I'll play the patient. The guy goes to the psychiatrist and complains. The airline is, how long have you had it?
Right.
Goes in and says, Doc, he says, I've had this terrible... I don't know what's wrong with me. He says, I can't remember anything for more than 15 or 20 seconds.
How long have you had that?
Had what?
That's the way I feel.
That's a joke. We'd like to finish with a snappy joke. Straight man, bang. We'll be right back. Stay where you are. Go in, out. All right, we're back here at the memory school. Talking about, we were talking about what they call a short-term memory loss, which happens to a lot of people. And strangely enough, when my mother was very elderly, she could remember things when she was a girl. Old people can do that.
Yes.
But they could not remember maybe something that happened that morning. They had the short term, but they could remember 60, 70 years ago. You know Harry Lorraine, right?
Yes.
Did you take one of his courses?
No.
Harry Lorraine's not only a great memory, but he's a fine magician also.
Yes. We spent time in Europe with Harry Lorraine. And it's wonderful to sit with that man and see him manipulate cards. Now, you're good, but he's great.
Yes, he is.
No, we have a little house in the south of France, and every year, Mel Brooks and Annie Bancroft, they're married, they come together, and Harry Lorraine sometimes travels with them,
right.
and we have dinner, and it's as a matter of fact, we had a funny dinner at one place with a bunch of people, and we have a very small house and a small living room, and there were about more than 12 of us, can't sit around this little conversation pit, and there was no room for the 13th person, and Mel said, I put a chair by the fireplace, and I said, Mel, why don't you sit there? Well, Mel put the chair in the fireplace, so he sat with his head. I mean, the whole evening, this is all you saw of Mel. He had a cup of coffee.
Just for the laugh, he put it in
And he
the
stayed
fire.
there 45 minutes. He had a cup of coffee, and he continued the conversation.
That's guts.
Yeah, but now you talk about short-term memory loss. I was going to bring a picture of that. I forgot to bring it.
Jim McCauley mentioned. I said, yeah, well, it's going fast.
Yes.
Going fast.
Yes.
What else is happening? Rob, your son, Rob's got another
My
big...
son Rob. Oh, my son Rob has... Anybody here saw when Harry met Sally?
Yeah, that's Rob's picture.
I want to show you what a good son my boy is. He gave his mother the best line of the century. His mother is the one who delivers the line when Sally is describing an orgasm or acting out an orgasm, and my wife's the one who says, "I'll have what she's having." Now that's my son giving his mother a present, making her immortal with that line.
Yeah.
That is a great line.
That was a funny thing because that line gave me the greatest straight line that I've ever gotten accidentally. A friend of mine, a writer, had seen the show in a preview, and he called me. He says, "What a wonderful show, picture your son directed." And he said, and one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen anywhere. And at the end of the scene, this lady delivers a line that the house falls apart. And I said, "That was no lady."
You're kidding. You're kidding.
Never got a straight line like that.
And that's the only time that'll ever happen?
Only time it'll ever happen.
Lady, that was mine. Did you know what he was saying? Then he knew.
What's that?
Then he knew what you're talking. You've been married, what, 45 years?
Yes.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
People applaud that. They like that. They like that. It's nice to see somebody who's hung in there for 45 years.
It's not easy,
Yeah.
but you work at it. If you like the person you're married to, you work at it.
Yeah.
You guys got some people you loved them, but you didn't like them.
Well, there's some people good at that.
Yeah, I know.
I think good at that.
No, I figured that that's the way it's supposed to be. Somebody
I
told
think
me the
you're right.
rules of the game very early, and I believed them. I'm very legal.
Yeah.
I don't double park or anything.
Yeah.
And they said, you've got to stay married for... Yes, that's what you do.
That's it, huh?
Yes, but it's also working out nicely.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yes.
All righty.
But we do fight once in a while.
Of course, you got to fight. Don't
yes.
be dull. People who say that we've never had a fight in our life, boy, what a dull marriage that's got to be.
Yes.
You got to have a little fight.
We fight...
But you got to fight fair.
We fight
fairly.
I don't know if it's fair or not. The major fight we've had in the last few years is going to Europe. Which road to take?
Oh, well.
And the one who chooses the road, if it's the wrong road,
forget it.
Why did you say I was going to go? And what you really get angry at is if somebody talks you into something you don't think is right and you do it anyway, you get mad at yourself, but you can't yell at yourself, so you yell at the nearest married person.
Those are easy to live with.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Stay where we are. Okay, folks. Here's Jann Karam is with us tonight. She's an attractive young comedian. She's going to be appearing in this year's home box office Young Comedian Special on the 2nd of December. And she'll be at the Improvisation in Cleveland, Ohio, Halloween through the 5th of November. Would you welcome Jann Karam? Jann?
Thank you very much. Thank you. How are you? I'm fine too. Thank you. I exercised today. I had a really tough workout. Well, I didn't go to a gym or anything. I just tried jeans on all afternoon. They always have these girls that work in these stores. No matter what you put on, they say, "Those look really good. You should get them." They're just like all my brother's girlfriends. He doesn't care about brains. He just wants an object girl. Someone to enhance his appearance like an accessory. I even heard his friend complimenting him. He says, "Hey, I saw you with Deborah the other day. She looks really good with your car." Now he's into these environmental sounds tapes, these recordings of nature sounds like waterfalls, birds. It's supposed to be very soothing. But he's not very smart. The other day, I saw him sitting in front of his ghetto blaster listening to his ocean tape at the beach. This surfer guy kept yelling at him, "Turn it down, man. It's throwing me off." I went to a live concert. I saw an environmental sounds band. People were yelling out requests. "Play the wind now. Do the wind." They were holding up lighters for that part. Of course, the wind kept blowing them out. I went with my boyfriend. He's my ex-boyfriend now. We just broke up after 5 years. Actually, the whole thing was over about 2 months into it, but it's so hard to end a relationship, you know? You just let it go on and on. You're waiting for something to happen. You're thinking, well, maybe he'll die. We would have broken up a lot sooner, but new restaurants kept opening. It's hard to find somebody new. That's the worst part. It's easy for my girlfriend because she'll go out with anybody. She's not choosy at all. She has no standards. Like, she'll sleep with a guy just for the free T-shirt. She's already making a quilt. I don't like first dates because I don't know what happens, but all of a sudden you act like an idiot. I have no opinions. I never eat. Everything you say is right. This is pretty much how I'm not. A couple months later, he says, you've changed. And the awkward part is you've gone to dinner, movie, it's too early to go home, and you don't want to say what you both really want to do, so you're just standing in the parking lot for 5 hours making that stupid conversation. This is the guy, by the way. So, yeah. So, what do you want to do now? Well, I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, I don't know. Do you want to do something? Yeah, let's do something. Okay, whatever. Okay. What do you want to do? Well, I don't know. I can't really think. So he says, well, I don't know. Do you want to go to my place? Just an idea, just a suggestion. I'm just throwing a few things out. So you go to his place, you're sitting on the couch, and he says, do you want to go in my bedroom? Well, I don't know. Well, we're just going to talk. Okay. So he takes you in his bedroom, tries to be romantic, lights a candle, turns on his clock radio, AM. This one guy, it sounded pretty good because he had it attached to car stereo speakers, and he had opened his bedroom window so we could hear it. So you know how it starts to get pretty exciting and passionate, and it's moving right along, and it gets to that point, and he looks at you and he says, and sometimes men have a certain way of breathing. And they do it in your ear. It's like, get away. Stop dribbling on me. Here's a pen. Write it down. But he says, I want you. Oh. God, baby. Can't you see how much I want you? You say, yeah, but hold on. Just let it happen. Don't be so forceful. He says, I'm not being forceful. Hey, listen, baby. Trust me. It's a true story. I got a T-shirt and an album. Thank you very much.
We're back. Now, I'm looking forward to meeting my next guest. It's a rather unusual story. She decided at the age of 82 to become a professional actress. That was 10 years ago. And she is one of the stars of the hit movie Parenthood. Would you welcome Helen Shawv? Well, it's nice to meet you. And welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
May I call you Helen? Is that all right?
Hey, everybody else, even the milkman calls me Helen.
Well, things are going that well, huh? Good. That's nice to have you here. So, I mean nothing about that at all. Now, somebody told me, I'm not saying this out of ego or anything, but somebody told me until we called you, you had not seen The Tonight Show.
That's right.
You know, I've been doing this for almost, it'll be the end of 27 years this month.
Well, I'm not that old.
Come on now, you're 92.
I'm 92, but I'm not 37.
Yeah. Well, you don't stay up that late, or?
No, I've lived on 3 hours sleep all my life.
Uh-huh.
But I'm a gadder, and I gad, and in the theater, I'm out usually late at night.
Right.
And I live up in the mountains, and I don't have a TV.
Oh, my gosh.
I can't get anything up there.
Yeah.
I'm too close to the mountains.
Did you take a look at the show since we called you?
Yes.
To see what you were getting into?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, what'd you think of it?
I was scared.
Yeah? What'd you think of the show?
Oh, I loved you.
Really?
Yes, I think
that's
you're
good.
marvelous.
Well, it's not nice after all these years. Yeah.
I did a jingle about you.
A jingle?
Uh-huh.
Somebody told me you write jingles. Is this a
I've
hobby?
got 3,000 or 4,000.
Really?
But if I did them tonight, you'd be here for 2 weeks.
Can you want to do one?
Johnny Carson? Who is he? Talk on his show? Oh, no, it couldn't be. Gabble with the guy who outsmarts them all? Say yes with delight when you get his call.
Well, that's sweet. Well, that's very nice.
I did another one.
You got another one? Okay. You got another one?
The eyes are failing, and
Yeah,
so am I. I'm not looking younger, although I try. The bones give out, the muscles quiver, the heart works hard, and so does the liver. The mind forgets and the ankles swell, but hell, I say, I'm doing well.
Good for you. Well, look, I don't. Well, now, I assume that you are not too familiar with Mr. Reiner, are you?
No. I'm sorry. As I said, I don't have a TV, and
Yeah.
I don't go to the movies very often.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm out of town a great deal, and I go to the high desert part
Do you
of the
really?
time. And I'm more or less isolated.
You're kind of a loner, huh?
Yeah, I'm a loner. I'm a tramp.
A tramp.
But I always have a return ticket.
Ah.
You
good
never
idea.
go out without a return ticket.
Yeah, you're right.
I've been busted all over in countries all over the world, but I always can get home with my ticket.
You can, huh? You ever been married?
Very briefly once, about 75 years ago.
Well, have you gotten over it yet? I mean,
Well, I just don't want to get married again.
you tried it once and that was it, huh?
Well,
Weren't there any good moments in the marriage?
Oh, well, there should be, but
Yeah.
You've got to be properly paired.
Yeah, properly paired.
How about you?
That's what some of my wife said. How about you? Same thing. No, I've tried it a few times, but so you spent a lot of times in the high desert. Is this kind of rustic? You mean you say you have no television? Is this a cabin
there's
or?
nothing up there, and I was 4 miles up the highway away from everything. And when people, I went out there, I was working, collaborating on books at the time with people. And I would go out there with a manuscript to study, and it would be wonderful to be out there all by myself, and no phone, nothing.
That sounds great.
Just the animals and the air. And that's where I learned to love my rattlesnake.
You like rattlesnakes?
Oh, I just love him. He's my best friend I ever had.
Yeah.
He saved me from breaking my virginity. Well, I mean my semi-virginity.
Okay, I'm going to go one more question on this. How did a rattlesnake save your semi-virginity?
Well, people told me that if I went out there by myself, a woman, this was 20 years ago when I was younger, that I'd be raped.
That you'd be...
Raped.
I see.
And I said, well, I've taken care of myself all over the world, and I'm still here.
Right.
And one day, a car drove up with 6 men in it, And I walked out on the terrace and said, well, what is it you gentlemen want? And they said, we've come to teach you love. I said, thank you, I know about love. And my rattlesnake moved in and stood between us. And I said, do you like rattlesnakes? He said, ooh.
That was the end of that.
I said, that's my friend right there between you and me, and there's he is.
Yeah.
And they got in the car and drove away.
I don't blame them, yeah. Somebody says you still drive a car?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I
okay.
drive about 10,000 miles a year.
Yeah? What kind of car you got?
Pardon?
What kind of an automobile do you have?
Well, I have a Cutlass Supreme,
Oh.
71.
All right.
It's gone 110,000 miles.
Yeah.
Runs like mad.
Now, do you go on the freeways?
Oh, all the time. I'd rather drive the freeways than anything.
Yeah.
You know where you're going.
How fast do you drive on the freeways?
Well, I don't know. But I started driving when I was probably 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah. What was your first car? I bet you don't remember.
First car we had was an Oakland. Does anybody
An
ever
Oakland?
remember the Oakland?
I don't
suppose
remember
so.
the Oakland.
It was made in Pontiac, Michigan, where some other cars are made now. And it had no windshield no doors.
Yeah.
And my father and mother debated for weeks whether they'd spend $11 to put on a windshield. And they finally decided it was worth it to keep the rain out.
So they put the windshield up. You sound like you have a fascinating life.
So we got a windshield.
So you put the windshield on. Yeah. Then at 82, you took up acting. You'd never done any professional acting before?
Oh, I've worked in little theaters all my life.
Yeah.
When my mother used to have a whisk tub. Does anybody remember
Whisk,
a whisk
the game
tub?
of whisk, yeah.
That was a pre-runner of a bridge. And I used to ham around and entertain